Uh, very good evening to all. I, Shashank, welcome all the participants for the awareness webinar on quick revision strategies for NEET and CET examination, which is organized by Sanatana Sampradishtana, Mysore, in association with Rotary Club of Mysore West. Prayer is the process of talking to God in order to achieve a purpose. So let us begin this webinar by seeking the blessing of Lord Almighty. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Koti Surya Samaprabha, Nirvighనం Kuru Me Deva, Karyeshu Sarvada. Now I request Dr. Ramachandra CG, the Managing Trustee of Sanatana Sampratishthana, to welcome and introduce the speaker of today's webinar. I also request him to welcome the guests and the participants.
Good evening, one and all. I take this opportunity on behalf of Sanatana Sampratishthana, Mysuru, to welcome today's speaker, Dr. Varun Murthy, a Director, Noble International School, Bengaluru, Secretary, Rebuild India Foundation, Secretary, Vidya Gateway Foundation, and Managing Director, Shraddha Edutech Private Limited. And also the guests from Rotary Club of Mysore West, Mysuru, and Sri Lokesh CG, President, and Dr. Shantara Jairas and Srimati Bhagya Gopal, Board of Trustees, Sanatana Sampratishthana, and finally all the participants, those who are participating for this webinar. Let me introduce today's speaker, Dr. Varun Murthy. He has 19 years of experience as a doctor, as a teacher, as a passionate trainer, and compassionate social entrepreneur. And coming to his education qualification, he has completed MBBS from KIMS Bangalore, and state level. So coming to his other achievements is concerned, so state level ranked eighth rank in class 10 across the entire Karnataka state. This is his first achievement. And also CET medical rank he has got 168th rank he has got during his medical the admission. And he has trained more than 1 lakh students, and is a top educator at Unacademy and former head of academics by JUICE, a former director, Core Concepts Learning Solutions Private Limited, and former chief of training and operations school for self mastery. And this is his brief introduction. And the beautiful thing about the learning is that nobody can take it away from you. So that's why I never stop learning. When we stop learning, then we stop growing. So learning gives creativity. So creativity leads to thinking, and thinking provides you knowledge. That's why the knowledge makes you great. So knowledge is divine, and knowledge is powerful, and information is liberating, and education is premise a progress in every society and in every family. So always seek knowledge. The today's topic, the common entrance test, that is CET, is a competitive exam conducted for the purpose of admission of students to the first year or first semester of full-time courses, either in medical, dental, engineering courses, in professional colleges of the various states of India. And the national eligibility come entrance test for undergraduate, that is we call it as NEET. Formerly the All India Pre-Medical Test is an All India Pre-Medical Entrance Test for the students who wish to pursue undergraduate medical, MBBS, dental, and equivalent such as Ayush, BAMS, BUMS, BHMS, etc. And coming to today's topic, the basic intention to organize today's webinar, that is quick revision strategies for CET and NEET examination, to provide the complete information how to revise the entire whole the curriculum, whatever you studied for your PUC or 10+2 for your CET or NEET examination. The speaker is he'll going to highlight and the motivate you about these things. Is a very good motivator and the trainer. I wish once again all the participants will have a fruitful interaction with the speaker. Once again, thank you all. So over to you, Shashank. Shashank, can unmute yourself? Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Varun Murthy, Director, Noble International School, Secretary, Rebuild India Foundation, Secretary, Vidya Gateway Foundation, and Managing Director, Shraddha Edutech Private Limited, to start the session.
Namaste to one and all. Thank you very much, Ramachandraji, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you, Shashankji, for a neat and clean opening to the session. And greetings to all the wonderful people on the in the session today, and welcome to all the students who are preparing for CET and NEET this year. Before I even tell you, see, the whole purpose of today's session, as Ramachandraji was telling, is to give you a brief idea about how can you utilize these 2 months. We have more or less 2 months, a little lesser than 2 months to prepare for CET and NEET. The whole purpose of today's session is to give you some strategies by which you can revise effectively, cover the gaps that you have in your preparation, and try and give your best shot. But before I tell you, the prerequisite for all success, as we all know, as anybody who has done anything worthwhile in their life know, that success and excellence is not anybody's domain. It is available for all those people who have the dedication to it, who have the commitment to it. And I have been searching for a word equivalent to Shraddha. Shraddha is a word that does not have a justifiable equivalent in English, as far as I know. The prerequisite for all your accomplishments, prerequisite to achieve anything that you want to achieve in life, not only in academics, is Shraddha. There is a Bhagavad Gita verse that goes like this. It says, Shraddhavan labate gnanam tatparas samyatendriyaha gnanam labdva param shantim achirena adi gacchati. In today's session, I want you to remember 2 shlokas from Bhagavad Gita. One is this, the other one I'll tell you subsequently. Shraddhavan labate gnanam means the one with Shraddha is the one who will attain knowledge. Tatparas samyatendriyaha. Only when you gain the right kind of knowledge, you will gain the power to control your indriyas. That is, control your sense organs. You can make them work according to your will. Gnanam labdva param shantim achirenadi gacchati. When you gain the right kind of knowledge, you will attain eternal and never-ending and unchanging peace. So that's what we are all working towards. We want eternal happiness. We want happiness that lasts for a lifetime. We want to stay happy despite all troubles and difficulties that we have in life. So the root of all that is Shraddha. So you need to have that dedication. The second shloka from Bhagavad Gita I want you to remember, which is very relevant at this point of time, is the one which all of you are aware of, at least half of it partially. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karmapala heturbhumastve sangostva karmani. That means you have the duty to perform, you have the right to perform your duties only and nothing else. You don't have any control over the outcome. You can't control the outcome, no matter how much you think. You can plan that you have 2 months to prepare. You can when you do 1 day's preparation well, you feel that if I continue to do like this, probably I will get this rank or that rank, or if I am continuing to do like this, maybe I will not crack the exam. Whatever you think about the outcome, it is not in your control. It is multifactorial. All that you can do is what you have to do today at this point of time, and do it sincerely. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karmapala heturbhumastve sangostva karmani. Meaning, you should not get attached to the outcome of the actions, neither should you get attached to inactions. I kind of reinterpret it to suit students. I'll tell you something now. See, the exam has been postponed. Last year also, the same thing happened. Exam got postponed, NEET got postponed, CET got postponed. When exams get postponed, majority of the students become complacent. They leave their preparation. They relax and they stop studying as much as they could have studied. So in that sense, when exams get postponed, the competition does not intensify, the competition decreases. You should understand this, because most of the students will lose their momentum as they decide to relax. Now that you have 1.5, 2 months before the exams, even if you start now and prepare in the right ways, you still have a fair chance of doing well in both the exams, CET as well as NEET. If you are aspiring to become a doctor, NEET 1.5 months of preparation with the techniques that I'm going to share with you should do very good for you. So don't think about the outcome. Don't feel whether your preparation is enough or not. All that you have to think about is, what is the time that you have on a daily basis? Today, what is the time that you have? Did you utilize that much of time that you had on the day productively? That's all you have to think about. So in my view, from this point onwards, you're at home, you don't go out, you have all the time that you have, you should be able to put in about 10 to 12 hours of studies consistently. 10 to 12 hours for the next 50 to 60 days. You have a solid 500 to 600 hours of time that you can put in. So your target is not how much you can prepare or how much you will be able to achieve in the exams. Your target should be time bound. So you decide, you determine, this is the first point, make note of it. Students, you have to keep a pen and you have to keep a paper and a pen. Small things that I tell you, make note of it. These are all very powerful things, those simple things. Okay. Determine that you have 600 hours of time. Before the exam, you have to complete 600 hours of preparation. How do we prepare? There are 100 chapters. If you look at NEET, it's a one exam, 180 questions, 720 marks. The entire 11th and 12th syllabus of physics, chemistry, biology. 100 chapters, close to 100 chapters from all the 3 subjects put together. How do you revise? I'll give you 2 strategies. Okay. And here I want you to challenge one paradigm that you have been sticking on to. Always we have been told to prepare for a test and attempt a test. See, I know all of us here know that we are never prepared enough for anything in life. No matter how much you prepare, you will always feel the preparation is not enough. So your confidence will never be good enough to attempt a test after preparation. So what I would tell is, from now on, let's say tomorrow you start attempting the papers. There is one app. If you have not downloaded this app, you have to download this app. It is called NTA Test Abhyas app. That is the app developed by NTA, which is the agency that is conducting the exam, National Testing Agency. Download this NTA Test Abhyas app. There are a lot of papers. There are close to 100 mock NEET papers available. Start solving the papers randomly. Also, you can solve, or one after the other also you can solve. At the most, you can solve about 20 papers in the remaining days. In the next close to 2 months, you can solve about 20 papers. What you are supposed to do, the technique that I am going to tell you right now are 2 techniques. One is called retrospective learning approach, and the other one is called fragmented learning approach. Make note of it. Retrospective learning approach and fragmented learning approach. Retrospective learning means this. You are not preparing for the test. So you download the app, you take the test right away after this session. Okay, you attempt one test, download the test, you attempt one test, solve it, all 180 questions in an examination setting. Don't talk to anybody, don't do anything else, just behave like you are in the examination, attempt all 180 questions, done. After you attempt the questions, you look at the score, you look at only the answer keys and not the solutions. You understand? You look at the answer keys and not the solutions. Now, what you do after this test is what will determine how well your preparation will go on. So your preparation is to be after the test. That means you complete the test. So after you complete the test and look at the answer keys and score yourself, you revisit every single question. You have to revisit every single question and think what you should have known if you had to answer this question perfectly. So this is the retrospective method. I will not prepare for a question, but after I attempt a question, I will think, what should I know if I had to attempt this question correctly? Then I go back, learn only those things which are necessary to solve this question, come back and attempt it again. Now, whenever you take a test in an examination setting, 3 things are possible. There are only 3 outcomes possible. 1, you know the question right. You understand the question. You have the right logic. You apply the right logic and you arrive at the conclusion, and the conclusion is the right answer. The second possibility is you arrive at a conclusion, that is, you arrive at an answer, but the logic was wrong and you arrive at the wrong logic, the wrong conclusion, wrong answer. Number three, you did not know what the question was. You don't know what the question is. You are clueless, so you leave it, or you take a guess. The guess might go right or wrong. But what I would say is, during practice, never make guesses. You need to have the assessment of where you stand without any bias. There should not be fake increase or decrease of your scores during practice. During exam, it's a call that you can take. You can decide if you are 50% sure about something. It's a chance that you can take based on your risk appetite. It is like investment. Okay, if you have a higher risk appetite, if you have a 50-50 chance, if you get it right, you get 4 marks. If you get it wrong, you lose 1 mark. So how much are you willing to trade is the chance that you can take, and that can be done only for a few questions. You cannot do it for a large number of questions. So coming back to this retrospective method, when I attempt a test in an examination setting, it's a challenge that I throw to my mind, and the mind will try to overcome that challenge. The mind will try and do everything possible to arrive at an answer. When the mind is trying to do that, the logic that the mind employs will get registered in the mind. When you revisit the same question and think about the concepts that you should have known to get those questions right, then if your logic was right, it gets reinforced. The logic gets reinforced and you will not go wrong with that logic. If your logic was wrong and you arrived at the wrong answer, there will be correction of your logic and your mind will learn the right path to arrive at the conclusion. If you did not know anything that the question gave you, you will learn new things. So when you attempt a test, revisit the question and learn the concepts related to the question, there will be reinforcement of the right logic, there will be correction of wrong logic, and there will be learning of unknown concepts. And when you go question by question, you are not going chapter by chapter in a sequence. You are not going in a linear way. You are going in a fragmented manner. That means when you attempt a full-length NEET paper, when you attempt 180 questions, there are questions from all parts of the syllabus. The questions can be from multiple chapters out of the 100 chapters. So when you do this, you are learning something of everything every day. This is how you build your preparation. This is how you build your knowledge base to attempt the entrance exams. Have you ever thought, and I'm sure you have, why is it that some students do very well in board exams and the same students do very badly in entrance exams? The syllabus is the same. The syllabus is the same. The concepts are the same. The questions are based on the same concepts. And why do we do badly? Why do some students do badly on entrance exams when they have got 95, 96% in the board exams? Their ranking in CET would be some 50,000, 60,000. How does that happen? How can they go so wrong? What you need to know is both are different types of tests. The board exam is a subjective test. It's a recall test. Recall tests are those where you have to recall the concepts in a particular sequence and you have to present it in an order. So recall tests require repeated learning of limited material. It's a very important skill. Subjective skills are very important skills. Now, if I have to put across my thoughts in a way that you can understand, I need to have good subjective skills. So board exam is very important. The preparation that you do towards board exam develops certain skills in you. Entrance exam is a recognition test. Nobody will ask you how you arrived at the conclusion. You don't have to justify your path. All that matters is recognizing the right choice among the given choices. So that you cannot have a particular predetermined path to arrive at conclusions. Most of the questions in the entrance exams require thinking. You have to think, you have to gather the data that is available in the questions, you have to collate the data and analyze the data, use the right concepts to arrive at the conclusions. And it cannot be conscious, it has to be automatic. It has to be automatic. There should be enough practice by which you can navigate through the question, pick up relevant information, collate the information, gather the relevant concepts, apply all those, and arrive at a conclusion. So it's like responding to a spontaneous situation. You're walking on the street, suddenly a snake comes in front of you. What do? There is no manual for that. Each person responds in a different way. So that's a spontaneous reaction. Entrance exams are recognition tests. It tests your ability to gather in available information and apply the concepts to arrive at a unique path to reach the conclusion. This requires broad-based and chaotic learning. Chaotic learning means what? You don't learn the concept in one sequence or in one order. You start somewhere and you can move from one place to another place to another place, and you should be able to connect. I call this as the method of building knowledge like a spider's web. Many of you might be aware how the spider's web functions. If there is a huge web that the spider has built, the spider is in one corner of the web, an insect gets caught in another corner of the web, somewhere far away. The spider knows where the insect is in the web, and the spider takes the shortest distance to reach the insect and eat it, or at least numb it and kill it. So the fragmented learning approach and the retrospective learning approaches will help you to build knowledge like a spider's web. Whatever the challenge is, your mind should automatically be able to reach the conclusion by using the least effort, the path of least resistance, and reach to the conclusion in the shortest possible time. Now, that is a preparation that you have to make over a period of time. But right now, also you can practice it. You can practice it. Think about it. Do you have enough time to go one chapter after another in the next 60 days? If you go by, let's say 60 days, you have 60 days and you decide to do 2 chapters every day. And that's what people tell you, that's what many teachers tell you. Do 3 chapters thoroughly and solve as many questions as possible in those 3 chapters. Go to the next chapters. In a few days, you take, in a week or so, you take a full length paper, attempt a full length paper, and then you keep doing this so that you can revise all the chapters in the given time. But trust me, if you do 3 chapters today, by the 10th day, you would have done 30 chapters. And if you go back to the same 3 chapters that you did on the first day, you will not remember what you should be remembering on day 10 of the same 3 chapters that you thought you learned thoroughly. You have been doing this, no? You have been doing this for 2 years. You have been doing this all your life during your studies. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. All right. So unfortunately, in our education system, we have built wrong methods. We have built wrong techniques. The first mistake that we have committed as educationists is historically that we have committed following the the Western Macaulay model of learning. Maybe not relevant for the students here. Ramachandraji would appreciate this, and all the educationists here would appreciate it. The linear approach to learning, preparation before the test, all these things have not done well for us. So try these, students. You use this retrospective learning method and fragmented learning method. That is, you will attempt a paper, revisit the questions, and solve the questions, learn the concepts related to the questions. It will help you. Okay. The next thing that I want you to practice is, Ammu is asking a question: is NCERT books enough to crack NEET? Ammu and all the students, in another 5-10 minutes, I will conclude the basic summary of what I want to tell you. And then I will open up for questions. You can ask questions and I'll address your specific questions. All right. Just give me 5 minutes, Ammu. All right. Yeah. There is something called situational learning or contextual learning. See, your memory is, there are 3 aspects to your learning. One is registration, remembering, and recall. You have to register the information that you learn. You have to remember the information that you learn by organizing the information properly. And recall should happen in a particular, by using certain memory pegs. Always, the context in which you are supposed to recall should be the context in which you register. That is why it is always told that you have to sit at your table and study. Sit on a chair at your table, at your desk, and study. Don't sleep on the bed. Don't use all sorts of postures. It's not how comfortable you are when you are preparing that matters. It is how close you are to the situation, or how close you are to the context or the surroundings in which you have to recall the concepts when you are learning, that matters. So sit at your table and prepare. All right. So keep it simple. Keep it simple. Only a few things that I want to tell you now as the preparation strategy. Take the test. Learn from the test. Make notes of whatever mistakes you did in the test. That is your revision material before the test, before you take the next test. So as you go on, the mistakes you did will act as the basis on which you make notes. The mistakes of the previous papers will act as the basis of your revision material. So every time you take the next test, you are revising from the mistakes of your past, previous attempts, previous tests, and you are ensuring that you are making new mistakes. So about if one paper analysis will take about 10 hours. If you are attempting the paper for about 3 hours, revising the concepts related to the questions that have appeared in the paper will take about 10 to 20 hours based on how deep your learning is. So if you are taking a test on day one and day two completely 10 to 12 hours of time will go in analysis of that paper. Revision of the concepts that have appeared in the paper, making note of things that you are not confident in the paper. Revise that on day 3, the first half, 2 or 3 hours before you take the next test, and take the test. Do the same process. Do the same process of analysis, notes making of mistakes, notes making from the mistakes, and adding on to your notes. So before your exams, the notes that you will have all the corrections of your errors of judgment, errors of understanding, and gaps in the concepts. Trust me, students, that should be good enough for you to do well in your NEET or CET. If you cross 500 in NEET, Karnataka students, if they cross 500 in NEET, you stand a very good chance to get a medical seat, government medical seat, I would tell you. Okay, if you are a bit affordable, and even if you cross 450, you can get a private seat in a private college. But I would say 500 plus will give you a good government medical college. And CET, there are a large number of engineering colleges. So CET, if you are reasonably well with CET, you should be able to do well. All right. So I don't want to tell you too many things and complicate it for you. So just remember the simple strategies that I've given you. Don't think about the outcome. Commit to your daily routines, 10 to 12 hours of preparation every day. Attempt as many papers as possible, but attempting papers without post-test analysis and notes making is useless. So apply the principles of retrospective learning and fragmented learning to make notes from the papers that you attempt. Use that as your revision tool. Go on repeating this till the exams and you will do well. Okay, don't bother about revising chapter by chapter. Do this and you're good to go for the exams. And the floor is open for questions. Students can ask questions. Anybody can ask questions. Specific questions, I will answer specifically. And I'll start with Ammu's question.
So students, you can put your questions in the chat box so that one by one he will take and address to it. Okay?
Yes. Yes, sir. 2 questions here. First, I will answer Sai Kirtana's question. App for mock tests, it is called NTA Test Abhyas. Okay, I am replying this to everybody. NTA Test Abhyas is the app that you have to download, solve papers from that. Okay, it is true to the format of NEET. And is NCERT books enough to crack NEET? It is, Ammu. It is enough to crack NEET. See, NCERT is like a policy document. Okay, policy document will give you everything as an outline, will give you introduction into everything, but it will not elaborate too much. All right. So right now, don't go into reading anything in particular in a linear fashion. Don't go back to reading NCERT books. Again, all that you have to do is take the test, and whatever you have to revise based on the test questions, revise those concepts from NCERT and also from your reference material. Does that answer your question, Ammu and Mohammed Hamza? Siri is asking, is NCERT exemplar textbooks enough for Karnataka CET preparation? Siri, you can't say what is enough. But if you prepare the right way, NCERT is good enough. Preparing the right way meaning, if you analyze the concepts properly, and if you learn the concepts and you understand to use the concepts, it's good enough. NCERT is the basis on which all questions come. If you look at all past NEET papers also, about 70 to 80% of the questions you will be able to answer if you are thorough with NCERT. And even the remaining questions you will still be able to answer if you have gone beyond NCERT with a strong foundation of NCERT. If you do well with 70% of the questions, you cross 500 series. So don't bother about doing all that is necessary. It depends on which stage you are, all right, which stage of the preparation you are. If you are thorough with NCERT already, you can go beyond. If you are not thorough with the fundamental concepts, don't bother about what all you should be doing. Do whatever is possible. And in the limited period of time, preparation on the basis of tests, retrospective learning method is the most effective. Okay. Likita says, can we memorize all the concepts on exam day? Likita, you don't have to memorize concepts on exam days. You don't have to memorize concepts at all. Now, if you have understood the way of making notes that I told you, you attempt the questions, and whatever you did not know about the question goes into your notes. That will be the revision material that you have to use before your exams. So you will have a solid revision material if you do this. Okay. So don't try to memorize things, Likita. You can use some charts and tables and flow charts and diagrams that you have made as memory tools. Whatever you have made already, that should do good. Or as you prepare, try to summarize things in the form of charts and tables and diagrams, pictorial representation. Your notes should be skeletal. Don't add too much of stories into your notes. Okay. How to stick on to the timetable method? Janvi, have you ever been able to follow your timetable for more than 2 days? We spend more time in making the timetable than following the timetable. You make the timetable mentioning what subject you study at what time of the day, and that's not workable. Okay. There is a tool that I have created. Yeah, just hold on. There is a tool that I've created called Time Utilization Index. I will not go into elaborating the tool calculation part. I'll just tell you the concept of it. Okay. Every day in the morning, you estimate what all time is not available for you to study. Like sleep is the time that is not available for study. Your daily routines, food and your bath and all the daily routines is not available for study. So in the morning, you estimate how much time you have to prepare to put on studies. That is your 100% of time available. You calculate what percentage of that time you utilized. So you have to buy one stop clock, a stop clock. When you start studying, you start the stop clock. Even if you stop for 5 minutes to go and have a glass of water and a small stroll, you will stop it. You start it again when you start studying. You might ask me, can I not use my mobile phone? Don't use your mobile phone, because it will start with using the stop clock and it will end with using everything else but the stop clock. That will divert you. You just have the simple tool, that is the stop clock. It's available on Amazon, 100 rupees, 200 rupees. So let's say you estimate that you have 10 hours to study. You are able to study about 8.5 hours. So your time utilization index is 85%. Your efficiency of time utilization is 85%. On a daily basis, with your estimation, in the morning, you have to estimate what is the total available time. And by the end of the day, try to achieve more than 90% of time utilization. Okay. It's okay. In between, let's say you have fixed your timetable 1 to 2, I will study chemistry. What if you feel sleepy at 1 o'clock? You will not be able to stick to it, no? But on the other hand, if you use the time utilization index method, you have to complete 9 hours of time. You feel sleepy at 1 o'clock, you'll sleep for half an hour. You will get up again and you will study. By the end of the day, you complete your 10 hours. You have done your job. Okay. Don't be unnatural. You cannot see every subject. Preparing on every subject requires different mindsets. Suppose you have told yourself in your timetable that early morning you will do mathematics. You are not in the analytical, you are not in the logical frame of your mind to do that. You want a little lighter subject, or you want a more descriptive subject to learn. Maybe you want to go with biology at that point of time. Your mind is good for doing biology preparation, but you have put it in your timetable that you will do mathematics. You will be forcing yourself to work on mathematics when your mind is not in a state where it can focus on mathematics. Then you don't feel like doing it, you give up on it, and you will go into a cycle of regret and repentance. I should have studied, I did not study. You start blaming yourself, you start cursing yourself. That doesn't do good. So don't make too don't try to micromanage your time. Just have a broad principle. Use your time. That's all. Okay. So timetable, Janvi, I think that should help. Brundan Reddy is asking to tell for CET. Brundan, CET, each subject has a different paper. There is no negative marking. If you are preparing only for CET, even there you have to pick up the mock papers, mock CET papers, and CET will have 2 papers at a time. You know, yeah. So keep it as 70 minutes, solve the paper in 60 minutes, and repeat the same process for CET also. Retrospective learning method will help in CET also. Somebody is asking fragmentive. Suprita is asking fragmented learning approach. Suprita, fragmented learning means you are learning in bits and pieces. Let's say if you are having a question on thermodynamics, you will learn only those concepts of thermodynamics the question is referring to. You will not learn the entire chapter on thermodynamics. The next chapter might be on wave optics. So you will shift from thermodynamics to wave optics. Learning something of everything in a discontinuous manner is fragmented learning approach. Fragments means pieces. You are learning in bits and pieces. You are not learning chapter by chapter. You are learning concept by concept, and that too the concepts related to the questions that have appeared in the paper that you solved. Okay. Retrospective learning means you are learning after you take the test. That is how life gives you the test. No, in our school and college, we will prepare and take the test. But the natural way of learning is take the test, face the test, and then learn. And that's what we do in life, isn't it? We face the challenges, and only after we face and deal with the challenge, when we look back, we get wisdom from that. We have never dealt with any challenge with wisdom. We have only developed wisdom after we faced the challenge. Why should we be unnatural in our preparation for exams? The more natural we are in our preparation, the more successful we will be in studies as well. Okay. And I'm going one question after another question. If any of your questions are not answered, or you are not convinced about it, you are not clear about it, you can add on your supplementary questions to that. No issues. Apeksha is asking, what book do you suggest for question solving for all chapters? Apeksha, that's what I told you. Don't go chapter by chapter. Don't solve from any book. Stick to NTA Test Abhyas app. Only that. Okay. Don't solve questions chapter by chapter. Solve questions from mock papers. Complete syllabus, mock papers. No more chapter by chapter preparation. It will not help you. Okay. Is OBC quota category beneficial, sir, to get a seat? Definitely beneficial, because it gives some advantage. No, the cutoff in any reservation categories is lesser than general merit category. So if any of you have any of the categories, make use of it. It will help you. Suprita's question I have answered. Fragmented learning approach. Spandana, is solving the previous year question papers helpful? Yes, Spandana, you can solve the previous year question papers because they are also full syllabus papers. It doesn't matter which papers you solve, but what matters is what you do after solving the paper. Okay. Make notes from the mistakes that you commit in the paper. So solve previous papers, no problem. Amogha, I'm a little confused about preparation. Like how you said now, it's better to solve papers and learn the key answers rather than read the textbooks. Yes, Amogam. Don't go through any of the solutions. Okay. In the NTA Test Abhyas app, you solve the paper, then you get the answer keys. You get to know what scores you have got. There is solution also in the paper, but don't go through the solutions. You spend time in analyzing what concepts you need to learn to solve those questions, right? You go back and learn those concepts and come back. If there is any question that you could not attempt, you can test this method with those questions. You have to analyze what concepts are necessary, learn that, come and attempt the question. You should be able to get the right answer if your analysis was right. If you are still not able to get to the right answer, that means your judgment on what is necessary to answer this question was not complete. So you think again, what else I should learn? Learn, come back, attempt. It's okay if you are spending 2 hours in trying to get an answer to one question. But in that process, you are training your mind to develop the logic of arriving at conclusions. That is what is more important than the conclusion itself. Okay. Is 2 months enough to provide adequate training to the mind? 2 months is not good enough, but it is not bad also. Okay. If you do this practice for 2 years, if this practice goes on for 2 years, let's say from first PU to the end of second PU and till NEET, you would become masters of dealing with the questions. All right. So, and these are all not just random, methods. These are all methods that I have experimented in my own learning. I have experimented with thousands of my students. It works like mathematics. I would say this is mathemagic. It works like mathematics and it will create results like magic. Works for everybody. Okay. So, what books that's done? Apeksha's question. Brundan, retrospective method means, retrospect means to look back. To look back. Retrospective method means after you solve the questions from the mock paper, you will revisit the questions and think about all the concepts that you should have known if you had to answer those questions correctly, and go back and learn those questions. What normally people do is they try to prepare on all the concepts and attempt the paper. I would say attempt the paper and prepare on only the concepts that have appeared in the paper. This gives you more confidence, because in the first paper, you might commit, let's say, 100 mistakes. When you rectify those mistakes, learn the concepts that led, that were wrong in your analysis, and you attempt the next paper and you make 90 mistakes, you feel very confident, you feel happy. And that small bits of happiness is necessary in your preparation. That's how the mind starts feeling more and more confident. So I say, in your preparation for NEET, you should be okay to get minus 180 on the first paper. Okay. If you get minus 180 on the first paper, you are ready for that. Anything that you get is a bonus. So if you are okay with minus 180, you can happily and without any expectation from yourself prepare 10 to 12 hours every day. If you are fit enough, if you are balanced enough, if you do some meditation and yoga, and if you have methods to keep stress away, you can do 14-15 hours also. That's up to you how you have trained yourselves. Okay, that is retrospective methods. Ammu is asking any apps for mock test for Karnataka CET questions. No, Ammu, there is no specific app. You can go with mock papers, mock test papers. Okay. Likita is asking for physics NCERT textbook is enough for CET and NEET. That's what, Likita, what I am telling is you should not go back to any textbooks right now. Okay. Solve the questions and try to learn the concepts which went wrong, either from NCERT or from any of your notes, or from your coaching materials if you have taken any coaching, or from any of the reference books. Whatever is the source that you go back to learn the concepts, it doesn't matter. But you go back after you attempt questions. Don't do chapter by chapter at all, I'm telling you. Kirtana is asking, could you tell some strategy to study physics? Most of the students feel it difficult. Kirtana, our obsession to, get the answer fast is the reason for not being able to do well in physics and mathematics and the calculation part of problem parts of chemistry. Okay. The lack of focus on the process makes us weak in applying concepts. So one method that you can follow, same extension of the retrospective learning. After you attempt the paper, don't fall to the temptation of looking at the solution. It's okay, you spend 10 hours in solving 10 physics questions, trying to get an answer by yourself. Okay, the logic is like this. You attempt one question, problem, let's say physics problem is the difficult part. No, you don't get the answer. Think, what should I learn so that I can get the answer? So you have made an analysis, go back, learn those concepts, come and attempt it again. If you get the answer, your analysis was right. If you still don't get the answer, correct answer, think again, what else I should learn? Go back, learn, come back and attempt it again. Keep doing this till you get the answer to that question. It might be 10 hours and you got answer to one question. It's okay. But in that process, you learned so many concepts. And I'll tell you one speciality of the mind. Mind, when you start at a beginning point and you reach at the end point, no matter what path you have taken to reach to the end point, the mind will trace the shortest distance. Okay, it will automatically align and trace the shortest distance. So your mind will learn what should have been the shortest path to reach the destination. All right. Kirtana, does that help? Are you able to understand what I'm telling? So attempt, analyze, and reattempt. Keep doing this till you get the answers. Okay. So you might think we don't have enough time. We have to solve as many questions as possible. That strategy is faulty because that strategy again relies on memory. That strategy again relies on your ability to recall the same question if it appears in the exams or similar questions if it appears in the exams. What I am telling you will make you good enough to get all the questions right, even if you don't recognize even one question from your past preparation. That's how it should be. Okay. When we look at the question paper, if we don't find familiar questions, we feel very, scared. Oh my God, I've never seen these questions before. Why should you see the questions before? If you have prepared well, if the question is all 180 questions are new, it's okay. You will look at the question, analyze it, do what is necessary to come to a conclusion. And I'm telling you, if you practice the right way, what I've told you now, even if all 180 questions are new in NEET or all the 60 questions are new in CET, NICHE, in any of the papers, you can still calmly navigate through the questions, come to conclusions by your own logic application and get all the questions right. Okay, so stick to the process, forget about the results, forget about the outcome. Your commitment should absolutely be to the process. And if the process of preparation, if the journey is right, destination is appropriate, I would say. Okay, it need not be what you expect, but it is appropriate. It is the right destination. Okay, is passion through subjects is important to prepare for any exams. Janvi, if you have a passion towards anything, if you have love and passion to do something, you will do it well, you will do it better. And if you don't like doing something, you should not be doing it. If you don't have a choice, better find reasons to love it. Okay, so what is the reason to dislike any subject? It's all wonderful knowledge. It gives you an opportunity to understand the nature in different perspectives and different dimensions. So it will help you. Spandana is asking, considering the board exams, we end up having less time for each questions. What is your suggestion to arrive at the answers for the given time? Spandana, anyways, board exam has been cancelled and all of you have passed. So you might be happy or unhappy. If you have not prepared well, you would be happy. If you have prepared well, you would be unhappy. Anyways, I assume, Spandana, you are talking about the problem of time in entrance exam. Am I right, Spandana? We're talking about problem of time in entrance exam or yeah, entrance exam. During practice, Spandana, don't worry about time. Okay, spend as much time on understanding the logic to arrive at the answers. There are 2-3 reasons why you will face difficulty in time, problem with managing time. One, sitting for 3 hours at one place is in itself difficult. It is not easy to sit at one place without moving for 3 hours. Okay, that too for your generation where you have been very active people, very restless people, doing a lot of things in a short period of time. So during our practice, let's say in the next 2 months, you will attempt 20 papers. You sit at one place and solve these papers, stationary, absolutely stationary, like you're in the exam. So that physical conditioning will help you. Physical conditioning to make your body sit at one place. When your body is not troubling you, you are able to manage your time better. So that practice is also very important. Second, which part to do first? If you ask a biology teacher, the biology teacher says 90 questions from the biology, do biology first. If you ask a chemistry teacher says do chemistry first. Physics teacher says you will not have enough time to solve problems later, so do physics first. What do I have to do? When you practice these papers, you will know what to do first. So navigation through the questions is the second problem. Navigation through the questions cannot be learned by listening to somebody. Navigation should happen by practice. You will learn how to navigate through the questions. 3, when you face a question which is eating away too much of your time, sometimes good students feel that as a personal ego challenge. How can I not get an answer to this? I will get an answer to this. Now, given time after the exam, or if you are given 5-10 minutes, you will solve that question and get an answer. No doubt about it. You should not do that. You should not become very, aggressively brave during the exams. If you are finding that some question is not, you are not able to solve that question, you would require more time, keep it aside. Let's see coming back to it at the end. Okay. So there will be questions which you can answer in, let's say, 15-20 seconds. You should not get any of those questions wrong, or you should not miss out those questions because you spent more time on some questions in the initial phase. Prioritize your navigation. As you navigate, you get all the questions which you can solve in 15-20 seconds, 30 seconds time. So you have covered double the number of questions per minute. Then questions which you feel confident of going ahead and solving and getting an answer. Questions which require time to get an answer, you know that with your preparation you will be able to judge that a particular question will require more time. Keep it at the end so that when you have more time, you can decide on which questions to attempt. It is not necessary that you have to attempt all 180 questions, but 70% of the questions will be straightforward. You should not miss those questions. And the difficult ones, based on your availability of time at that point of time, you should be able to manage. And the next very important point is, don't get afraid, don't get scared, and don't get disturbed if you find a series of questions that you cannot attempt and solve. So it's possible. There are different versions of the question paper. It's possible that the first 15 questions that you see, you don't know anything about it. It's possible. If you get disturbed at that point of time, the rest 165 questions might have been questions which are very comfortable for you. You will make mistakes, judgment errors, observational errors. Okay, so don't get disturbed if you are not able to get some questions. It's okay, leave it. It's not necessary that you have to get all 180 right. Okay, and bubbling errors. When you are marking in the OMR sheets, one blunder many students commit is they mark the answers in the question paper and they will try to bubble the blocks in the OMR sheet at a stretch. It doesn't give you any advantage of time. Doesn't give you any advantage of time at all, but it has the risk of skipping questions. If you skip the order with one question, all the questions beyond that will go. You will, you will lose track of that, and all the questions will have wrong markings, even if you have got the right answer. So the moment you get an answer to a particular question, mark it on OMR sheet. Okay, these are all very simple things, common things. All your teachers would have told you all these things, but everybody tells you all these things repeatedly because they are very important, and very good students I have seen have committed these blunders and lost a year because they sat through for another year to prepare for it, or they compromised on their dreams because they did not want to sit through for another year. See, at the end of it, whatever is the outcome, we will accept it. But let us not commit blunders which will lead to loss of opportunity or loss of possibilities. Okay. So I think, Spandana, working on those points during your preparation in the next 2 months should help you become better at managing time. Okay. Yeah. Likita is asking, is 2 months enough for preparation for NEET? Yes, Likita. Okay. I'll tell you with a very strongly assertive yes. 2 months is a good enough time for a reasonably average student to crack NEET, not only do well in NEET, to crack NEET with 500 plus score. 2 months is a good enough time. But all you have to do is commit to doing 12 hours every day and do it. Don't bother about anything else. Whatever the results, accept it. Okay. Kirtana, if you are taking both CET and NEET exams, how can you manage time for that? Kirtana, from the point of view of exams, both exams do not overlap with each other. So the exams are on different dates. So the examination dates don't clash, but preparation strategies are different. Okay. You have to decide which one is a higher priority. If let's say you see the strategy for CET is different. You have to take one subject mock papers, whereas in NEET you have to take all the 3 subjects together in 3 hours mock paper. CET has 60 questions in 1 hour. You have to attempt 60 questions in 1 hour. You have to attempt 180 for NEET in 3 hours. Whichever you consider is your higher priority, do more papers of that format. The other one, once a week. 1 paper a week for the other priority. If NEET is your higher priority, you have to do alternate days. You have to do more of paper practice and analysis for NEET mock papers. And once a week, you attempt 1 paper of each subject, all the 4 subjects on 1 day for CET. If it is the other way around, you do more of CET practice and 1 day NEET practice, paper practice. Okay. So you have to, Kirtana, you have to decide on your priority. You can't be well prepared on both formats. Okay. Yeah. All the questions that were raised in this discussion so far, I've answered. Any more questions anybody would like to ask? Feel free to ask. I hope I have been able to add some value to your time, students, in this period when you have shortage of time. Okay. Hopefully it will be helpful for you, and I'm sure it will be helpful if you practice. Chandushree wants me to become an astrologer now. Will the paper be easy or tough this time? Don't worry about it. It will be easy if you are well prepared for it. It will be difficult if you are not prepared for it. So let it be. Don't bother about it. That's what I told you. No, karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Whatever the paper be, let it be. We will prepare. We will prepare to the best of our abilities. Always remember, you should always tell yourself that I will do my best. If my best is better than the rest, I stand to gain in competition. If my best is not better than the rest, then I can't do anything about it. I only have to continue improving my performance, improving my own preparation, improving my own effort. So when you bring it down to yourself, whatever anybody is doing doesn't matter. Whether you stand to gain in the competition or not, it's okay. Life is very long and your preparation will have to go about for a very longer time. So it's okay. Brindan, JEE, have you given any of the earlier attempts, JEE attempts? The earlier previous attempts if you have given, or the subsequent attempts you are giving? apply the same principle, retrospective learning and fragmented learning approaches apply for JEE also. In fact, it applies more because JEE paper will have more problems and questions related to application of the concepts than NEET. So the retrospective learning method and fragmented learning method will help you better in JEE. When there are more challenges, it will do. Brundan is in second year. Then you are at an advantage, Brundan. Start practicing retrospective and fragmented learning method right away. If you do it for 6 to 8 months, it will give you very good results. Will the cutoff for respective castes will raise or decrease than last year for this time? Likita, don't worry. Let's first focus on our priorities. We don't know what will the relative performance be, but considering the pandemic situation, competition will be lesser. Competition will be lesser. I'm telling you, more time means competition will become lesser because more students give up. They lose their momentum. They lose their preparation time. So if you make use of the preparation time for the next 2 months, you have an advantage. So consider that you will have a better chance than the non-pandemic times. So as I see, every crisis comes with opportunity. So either we have a choice always. In this crisis also we have a choice. Either we sit and crib about the crisis, or we look out for an opportunity in this crisis and make use of the opportunity. I choose the second option. That will do well for you. If we concentrate on agriculture or veterinary, how can we prepare for PCMB altogether in CET? Spandana, if your preparation focus is agriculture sciences or veterinary sciences, prepare on PCB. It is not necessary that you have to write all 4 papers. No, you'll have a PCB rank list and PCM rank list. So, and you don't lose anything by attempting mathematics also, so that you get an engineering rank as well. So if you are not happy with what you get with veterinary and agricultural sciences, you can always get back to engineering if that is not something that you want to exclude from your options. Okay. Right. All right, students. Do well, stay happy. The more happy you are, the more possibilities of better preparation, and your performance will become better and your results also will be better. So stay happy. There is no point in worrying about anything. Okay. Right. Thank you, Amog. I'm glad it has been useful to all of you. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ramachandraji, for and giving me an opportunity to be of some use to the students, and congratulations to you on this wonderful initiative that you have taken. I'm sure many more such initiatives that you do will help many more students in general. Thank you.
So if there are no questions, so we'll proceed. Shashank?
Yes. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful and informative session. I request Dr. Ramachandra CG, the Managing Trustee of Sanatana Sampratishthana, to summarize today's webinar.
Once again, so let me thank Dr. Varun Murthy for giving more and more information about the preparation. First, I'll thank him and all the participants. And coming to the summarizing today's session, I hope so. He has given 2 important and beautiful the Bhagavad Gita slokas, which surely it will place to you people. So at this right junction, actually, that is the first, the important sloka he has told: Shraddhavan labate gnanam, tatpraha samvatendriyaha, gnanam labdha param shanti, machirena gachati. So that means, see, what you mean is, the one will have a shraddha, that is you may call it as dedication or your commitment, whatever, definitely will going to succeed whatever you plan for it. So that is what it was. And one more important sloka he also related: karmane vadikaraste mahapaleshu kadachana. That means that you have a right to perform your duty. That means no matters the output, whatever it is. So you sincerely you prepare for the examination and attempt to it. This is what it is required, he told. And don't think about your the preparation, he told. So the one is he has clearly mentioned at least you have only 2 months of time. That means 10 to 12 hours preparation that is required. And your the productivity matters, not the your preparation time and whatever you take. And also he has clearly mentioned around 600 hours of preparation may be required for the entire the CET or your NEET examination. And for especially for NEET examination, he has given an NTA test Abhyas app. With the help of that, you can solve, you can take test some, you can solve some papers. And he has clearly mentioned 2 way of learning methods. One is retrospective the methods. That is, you told you look back. That means attempt to it and analyze and revisit. That's what he told. Okay, that means after downloading the app, you solve and revisit the questions and which you have not answered properly, and find the solution for that and once again solve it. That's what he told. And even the pragmatic learning approach also he has spoken about, in that wherein bits and pieces whatever you will learn. Okay, both the methods, whichever you are well versed with that, you can adopt that method. And I clearly mentioned never go for any guess answers. Okay, if you know the answer, okay, after analyzing it, you mark it, or else don't put any guess and mark answers. And there is a lot of difference, he told, subjective, that is board examination, to that of the internal examination. Clearly he has mentioned and he has told. And he told the building, you have to build your knowledge like a spider web, how it is the web, like that you have to widen up your, and your the building knowledge should be widespread. And also he told the situational or conceptual learning, how you have to do it, like registering, recalling and visiting everything. And he also quoted that make notes from your mistakes, whatever you have done, whatever you have made, and then add to your notes so that you can prepare it. So a lot of questions also he has answered. So you don't care about the result. That's what he told, those 2 slokas. So you give your 100% from your side and attempt it. So no matters the ranking, how much you're going to get. So definitely whatever the preparation, the quantum of preparation you have done, so you will going to get the repetition for that, like Newton's law. So I hope, so this particular session which is being organized just to give some more inputs for your preparation methods. So the speaker has given more and more inputs for you. It will definitely you implement it while preparing for these 2 examination. Definitely it will add the value for your examination. And he has answered almost all the queries raised by most of the participants. So once again, I thank the speaker, today's speaker, as well as all the participants. I hope you have got the benefit out of it, and also all the best for all of you, for both the NEET as well as the CET examination. So you will be reaching your goal, sure. So if you have a proper the aim and dedication. So thank you one and all. Once again, over to you, Shashank.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Gratitude is the essence of humanity. I thank Dr. Varun Murthy, Director, Noble International School, Secretary, Rebuild India Foundation, Secretary, Vidya Gateway Foundation, and Managing Director, Shraddha EduTech Private Limited, for accepting our request to be the resource person of today's webinar, and also for delivering a very informative session. Thank you, sir. I thank Dr. Ramchandra CG, Managing Trustee, Sanatana Sampratishthana, and officials, Rotary Club of Mysore West, for their involvement in organizing this webinar. I also thank Sri Lokesh CG, President, Dr. Shantaraj Aras, and Srimati Bhagya Gopal, Board of Trustees, Sanatana Sampratishthana, for their support extended in organizing this webinar. Finally, I thank all the participants for your support and active participation in this webinar. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, everyone. Good luck.